welcome to People in Legal, where we explore the real stories behind legal professionals. I'm Greta Hurl, your host. As a legal marketing consultant, I'm privileged to connect with inspiring professionals across the legal industry, and today is absolutely no exception. I'm excited to introduce you to Gabriella Pomare, partner at the Norton Law Group and a standout in family law. With international experience and multiple National Legal Award nominations, Gabriella brings incredible insight to the table. Gabriella, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm very excited to speak with you today.
So let's just jump in and start with our questions. Can you tell me a little bit about what first drew you to the legal profession?
Yes. I suppose it's funny because when I was finishing high school, I had no interest in being a lawyer, being in the legal profession. My dad's a lawyer, as you might already know, and he's the managing partner here at the Norton Law Group. But I thought, no way, I'm not doing it. I wanted to do something in psychology. I guess that's funny because family law really is that mix of psychology and law anyway. So I guess I got what I wanted and I ended up doing law at UNSW, which I loved. And then I guess it was seeing the way he engaged with clients, the excitement, sorry, he got out of his work, and I guess the finalized solutions. And then I said, I want to do this too. I want to be a part of it. And I want to be in that people side of the law. I've never had really an interest in commercial law, drafting documents. I really wanted to be able to help people and make a difference. And yeah, that's what drew me to where I am now.
Awesome. And so you studied at UNSW, Beijing University, Columbia in the US. It's quite an international academic journey. How did those experiences shape your worldview and your approach to law?
I guess what's exciting about travel is that it really broadens your experiences and what you can then give to other people. And in family law, it's something I always tell my junior lawyers, you need experience to give advice. We can read textbooks, we can, learn things through podcasts and through CLEs and lectures, but realistically, it's what you've seen, what you've experienced, observed, the different people you've interacted with that shapes the advice you give. So I was at uni when I did those courses. I was in New York doing a human rights law course at Columbia, and I was there for a little while. And then I think I did political law or something at the Beijing University. And although they're not directly family law related, it was what I learned over there. It was the cultures that, I entered in good with. It was the experiences of what I saw and heard that I sort of bring to the table now when I'm speaking with clients. And I can give a more broad brush approach, maybe a holistic approach to the advice I give. And yeah, I think that's where I take travel and those experiences.
Yeah, definitely. I can understand that. So you've achieved also an impressive list of accolades, including Partner of the Year finalists 3 years running. What have been some of the career-defining moments that led to those recognitions?
I think being nominated for these awards is firstly putting yourself out there. You need to have the confidence and saying, you know what, I'll put my name down, I'll apply. That's number one. And then it's saying, do I deserve or am I deserving of this? I may as well go through everything I've done, because if you have that confidence or belief in yourself that, yeah, you know what, I've achieved a fair bit. I think I deserve to be nominated for this. That's really important. And I think that then flows into your work, the advice you give your clients and your referral networks. So in terms of career defining, yes, it's those nominations. I think it's achieving partnership at a young age. And I get it. My dad's the managing partner, and it's something that a lot of people say, and I've experienced, for the last 10, 15 years. But you don't get that kind of reward just, I think, from being a family member. It's endless nights of business planning, it's marketing, it's not just sitting at my desk and meeting with clients. It's saying, what vision do I have for this business? I don't just want to be the lawyer, within their office. I want to go out there and meet new people and really grow this business, develop what we are. And so I think that's it. It's saying I was young, yeah, I became a partner, but look how much our firm's expanded, look how big, or how great, in my view anyway, we've become. And that's been really special for me.
Yeah, amazing. It sort of leads me into the next question I have for you is, did you ever struggle with imposter syndrome during that journey? And if so, how did you overcome it? Or if not, which amazing, can you share what helped you to sort of stay confident and grounded along the way?
Yeah, I think that's really important. I still struggle with that every day. People always see the last name and say, oh, hang on, did she really deserve it? Or we'll have staff who say, oh, hang on, why is it so hard for me? And if you've only just come on board with us, you won't have seen the journey. I mean, I started here, I'd worked as an associate in the family court for a few years with a judge. I then thought, what's my next step going to be? Let's grow this firm. My dad started off as a sole practitioner. He was in the suburbs in Leichhardt, and great. He was one of the first accredited specialists, and he did very well. But my vision was always, I want to be bigger and better. I want to do more with this firm. I want to make sort of change in family law. I want to be someone in family law. So I think it was for me and my research, taking that initiative, um, getting out there, speaking with people, learning more, being involved in, things like collaborative law that maybe dad wouldn't have done back in the day, and then saying, okay, where can I take this firm? And we went from a small suburban family law firm to, we have 3 offices now. We're about to move into a big brand new city office, which is exciting. We continue to grow our team. We're getting bigger. Our referral networks are growing. And that's as a result of hard work. So I think you need to keep telling yourself when you have this imposter syndrome, or I think there's a lot at the moment on LinkedIn and online about nepotism and this whole idea of, oh, people, family members can't be promoted. It's not fair for other, but we reward our staff. I get so excited when my junior lawyers, do well, they achieve. I want them to do better. I invite them to come to conferences, to listen to talks, to meet different people, because I want everyone to excel. And I think if you keep that mentality and you encourage the growth of your whole team, you feel better about yourself and, the nonsense of imposter syndrome or nepotism or anything like that. And yeah, I just think that's important to keep your confidence.
It's a great lesson. Yeah. So family law, it's an incredibly complex and emotionally charged area. How do you manage the emotional demands of your work while maintaining your well-being and your passion for this area of law?
It certainly is emotionally charged, and I think it comes with experience. I know that when I was working in the family court a long while ago, I found everything quite confronting. You're young, and even as a young lawyer, you don't really have experience in the ins and outs, perhaps of relationships, of the breakdown of long-term relationships, money, um, buying and selling of property, having children, and then the raising of those children. And over time, you learn more, and that builds on your experience and your ability to handle the pressure and handle the emotions that come with family law.
Mm.
Um, Having said that, I think you need a good balance, or I like to use the word blend, because for me, anyway, there isn't a balance. There's an ongoing blend of family life and work life. And I think, again, you need to have confidence that what you're doing is okay. And that's taken me time. I think this is literally the first week where I've been honest enough to say to clients, next week I'm actually off. It's school holidays. Rather than saying I'm in court or I'm in a meeting, it's school holidays and I have kids, so I won't be in the office. During the week, I have a 4-month-old and a 4-year-old.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a challenging couple of months, and I
How-
haven't had I haven't had maternity leave. I don't think I've had a proper day off.
Oh, wow.
But it's that blend I talk about. So, it's me, it's getting up, doing the breakfast time with the kids, getting one off to school and one off to her grandmother's house. And then I come into the office for a few hours. And I don't come into the office necessarily because I need to be here to see clients, because as you know, most things these days are done by Zoom, but it's to have that ongoing rapport, that connection with my junior staff, to see how they're going, touch base with their well-being, because that's so important. And then do that, go home, have that blend of afternoon time is my time with my kids now, to then jump back on the laptop at night. And that works for me. Some people say it's unhealthy, you shouldn't be working on the laptop at night. But I think every lawyer needs to do what their individual circumstances warrant and what works for them. So for me, it's just picking my blend, my balance, and then maintaining my mental health by having control of that.
Amazing. Yeah. Flexible lifestyles are,
Right? Thank you to COVID that taught us that we actually could do this a little bit more flexibly
exactly.
too.
Yeah. Yep. So, what role do you believe lawyers should play in shaping better outcomes for families beyond just resolving legal issues?
I think a lawyer's job is so much more than just giving sort of textbook advice. The law says one thing, legislation says one thing, but we need to take our experience and give a client a real holistic approach to resolving their matter. I can obviously only use family law as an example, but we need to really set someone up for the rest of their life. And I think the biggest thing here is being a listener, a really good listener. And when someone comes to you for the first time, it's not clock watching. It's not, I've got one billable hour, it's all I'm giving you. It's, let me understand what's happened in your life. Let me understand your ex-spouse or your partner. Let me understand what you want to gain out of this process. Taking that on board, giving the right advice, but then giving options and following through. I think in the early days for me as a young lawyer, it was okay, we've got a court matter, let's prepare documents, let's get some orders and we're done. But now I know it's so much more than that. It's okay, is this person set up? Do they have a financial planner? Do they feel confident in what to do with their money? Should I recommend they seek, some psychologist advice, a counselor? And no one needs to be ashamed of that. Giving them the real tools and resources to set themselves up and feel confident. And I think that's where our role walks away from what the traditional lawyer is. And really, it's a bit of that social work counselor, psychologist, friend, still maintaining a balance so boundaries aren't crossed, but allowing a client to finish their case with that confidence.
Yeah, wow. So leads me into you've got a book, The Collective Co-Parent. What inspired you to write it?
So the collaborative co-parent started from my own experience. So I separated from my 4-year-old's dad when he was about 1, so a couple of years ago now. And that experience in itself really shifted the way I look at things. And that's not to say I still don't use my legal hat when I have clients. Of course I do. I think there is a time and a place for court always, and there are certain matters which very much need to be litigated when you've got high family violence, you've got coercive control. I will never be someone who says, go away from court, steer away, don't use the court system, because there is a place for it. But having said that, from my experience, it is so important following separation that parents can learn to at least communicate better, have a business-like relationship, and co-parent effectively for their children. And I've seen such a change from when I separated and my son was 1 to what he is now. Even at 4, he's started pre-K, basically like school this year. And there's such a shift in the way he understands the world. He comes home saying things like, but why can't you both just live together? Why do I have to go from house to house? So I really wanted to use my personal experience coupled with my professional experience to write this book. It's not a legal book by any means. It doesn't give any legal advice. It doesn't go through what the Family Law Act says, nothing like that. It's very practical, hands-on advice. Maybe call it a self-help book, I don't know. But it goes through the transition from you've just separated, now what do I do? Those first stages of having to tell certain people, schools, professionals, providers, and then works through how do I build better communication? What tools and resources do I need? Then we look at things like the blended family, when people recouple, step families, step parents, siblings, that dynamic. And then towards the end, a bit of advice on what other resources or tools are available in terms of court, collaborative law, parenting coordination, just so people have some advice moving forward as to what to do.
Amazing. And what do you hope that both parents and professionals will take away from reading this book?
I think that's an important one. Yeah, because we too quickly say, there's a broken family, these people have separated. And I think people often forget that, yeah, sure, the family unit or the family dynamic has changed, but you're still a family and you're going to be a family forever. Your children will grow up, they'll finish school. You're still going to have to go to university graduations. You're going to go to their wedding. I hope children's, baptisms, things like that. So what I think parents need to walk away from is, I know there's been high conflict, probably you're emotional, things are changing, but you need to see past that, and for your child's benefit into their future, give them some stability and security by learning to communicate better, by learning to get on, even if you're faking it in front of your children, make it look like it's working, because that's really going to shift and mold their response to the divorce and how they then grow up, their developmental well-being, when they go to school. And I'm seeing that now. And I guess from a professional perspective, it's just having that resource outside of the Family Law Act says this. I agree. There are various authorities and case law which says and will say things, but practically, what advice does that give parents? Not much. We need to give parents actual resources that they can use and take away to implement the right boundaries, something very simple. I learnt this from a really good mediator, Shelby Tibbins, and I use her a fair bit. And the one bit of advice she gives a lot of my clients is, when you can't get on, she talks about an email system where you have various headings within your email, and limiting the communication to that. And that is such wonderful advice. And it's something I now give all my clients is, forget the high conflict. Don't write this long email with all this, emotional stuff in there, causing more arguments, playing the blame game. Limit your email to the 4, for example, very important topics that need to be addressed. It might be your child's schooling, health, whatever updates are being given about the week. And it's just small tips like that that parents often don't get when they're engaged in the litigation process or in family law. So, yeah.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah. Sounds like an amazing book for anyone going through that.
Thank you.
So Gabriella, life has a way of testing our resilience, and how have life experience, you've told us a little bit about your life experience, but is there any other life experience that have influenced your approach to work, and what key lessons have you learned that guide your professional journey?
I think it's that you got to keep learning. That's a big one for me. What I thought about the law and being a lawyer and everything else, 10 or 15 years ago, has shifted and changed so much. And that's just through life experience. And I talked about being separated, but that's just one thing. I mean, that certainly changed the way I give advice in family law and perhaps the patience that I have when listening to client stories. But it's also just life experience. As I said before, buying a house shapes the way you then give advice or understand what's happening in somebody's life. And it's the willingness to want to keep learning about the way the law is changing, the different options that are out there, and no longer being the person who stays in their office and says, I'm doing really well, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Because we all know businesses fail like that. You need to keep getting out there and learning what's new. How can I better my business model? What sort of people can I speak to and collaborate with? It's not a competition. I think a lot of lawyers still think, oh no, I don't want to share my secrets with so and so because my way of doing business is getting out there. Some of my best friends are family lawyers. They have their own firms. They do excellent. We refer to each other. It's a healthy dynamic. It's the best way of doing business. And yeah, I think that's really important.
Supporting each other. It's great. So what advice do you have for young lawyers, especially women, including women entering the field of family law today?
Big one is collaborate. Don't be competitive.
Yeah.
Too many people think it's a competition, and I see it within the firm over the years. It's who's doing more billable hours, who's got more work, who's been given the better cases. It's not about that. Work together. Because I know as a partner and within my firm, I love to see when the others are working together, when they're helping each other out. So it's so nice to see because we all want to do well. The other big one is learn and take initiative. So you can't do everything from picking up a file and speaking to a client at home at night. I know we need that balance, and that's important, but you need to want to learn and keep learning. So you need to listen to the lectures or read about the changes to the law, be inspired or have that initiative, to take the next step to learn so you give better advice and then your business model and the way you give feedback to clients improves over time. I just think that's so important. And it's something we often forget. We get lazy and we say we're really good at our jobs. We don't need to keep learning. And no one has enough time to keep learning. Don't get me wrong. I know that. But, pick an hour a week. That's your reading week. Put a good podcast on the way home, something like that. So you're up to date and you stay relevant too.
Awesome. Yep. So I would love to end our conversation with a few rapid fire questions on your life outside of the law. Shall I just shoot?
Is there one? I don't know.
If you have
Go for it.
just one word, whatever. What's your go-to ritual for winding down after a busy day of work?
Reality TV. I'm a sucker for it. I need to watch something so mindless. Real Housewives of Sydney at the moment. It's our Wednesday night thing. My partner's a barrister, so he's probably more of a workaholic than I am.
Yeah.
And it's put that thing on a Wednesday night because we just need to tune out of all the noise that's going on.
Nice, nice. What's your one non-negotiable in your week that helps you stay centered?
Centered today probably is Wednesday, and Wednesday is library day with my 4-year-old Theodore.
Nice.
So I pick him up, we go to the school library, he runs around, plays a little chess, a little Lego, and I can't say I find it all that enjoyable, but it's a time where I actually stop looking at my phone. It's no emails. It's let him feel and be a bit more important and let him show me what's exciting to him.
Wednesday's library day for me and my kids.
Well, there you go. Countdown's on, a couple hours to go.
If you had a full day off with zero responsibilities, how would you spend it?
You can't go traveling in a day, but if I could, I would.
Okay.
But somewhere by the ocean, probably. I think just the sound of the waves kind of helps you to switch off. I sleep with white noise at night. It's not because of the baby. I'd do it either way. I just feel that really helps to relax me. So yeah, somewhere by the ocean.
Nice.
With no emails.
Nothing better than the salt water and
that's it.
Smell of the sea.
Yeah, fresh air. That's it.
Gabriella, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and really opening up about your challenges and triumphs along the way. I truly enjoyed speaking with you. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in. I'm Greta, and see you next time for more real conversations with people in the legal industry.
Thanks, Greta.